Our Lowe's starting lineups today. And for the Tar Heels of North Carolina, the familiar five of George Lynch and Brian Reese and Eric Montross up front, with Henrik Rodel and Derek Phelps in the backcourt. The head coach of the Tar Heels, Dean Smith, sitting on 757 lifetime wins. He's just 2 victories away from number 3 all-time, and that position is held by Ed Diddle, the legendary Western Kentucky head coach. The starting lineup for the Wake Forest Demon Deacons today, and a lot will be asked of their up-front people of Owens, Rogers, and Hicks. And the backcourt, Charlie Harrison getting his first taste of this North Carolina rivalry as a Deacon. And Randolph Childress joins him back there. And Dave Odom, in his 4th season at the helm of the Wake Forest Demon Deacons, looking for his first win in 8 tries against the Tar Heels. When we come back, we'll meet, we have met the lineups, we'll have the tip-off. When we continue from Winston-Salem, North Carolina, the Tar Heels and the Deeks up next.
With each new day, you find a way to be your best.
Gillette Sensor for the closest, safest shave ever.
You know you gotta be a little better than the rest.
Only Gillette Sensor has spring-mounted twin blades that sense and adjust to every detail of every face. Gillette Sensor, when you're the best, there's no feeling like it.
Gillette, the best a man can get.
Mike's the first guy that ever explained life insurance in a way that we could understand it.
Making things clear is the part of my job I like best.
He showed us all the options that Nationwide has and even helped us choose.
It's training, seminars and updates. It just never stops at Nationwide.
With life insurance, it's not what you know, it's who you know. And we know Mike.
Agents like Mike are Nationwide.
Nationwide is on your side.
Mr. and Mrs. Ward have a little bet going. If she can install the ceiling fan, he'll put in the bathtub she wants.
Need some help?
So she went to Lowe's for a how-to clinic and everything she needed, all at guaranteed low prices, and he made sure Lowe's had all the plumbing supplies. Lowe's, helping add value to the homes on Raymond Street and your street. So now Mrs. Ward will enjoy her new fan.
Need some help?
Almost as much as she'll enjoy watching her husband install that new tub.
Tar Heel fans, and a lot to like on Wednesday night in that Florida State game. We'll see how they do today against the Deacons. Of course, Wake Forest trying to pull off the upset here over the Tar Heels. They have not beaten a North Carolina team in Winston-Salem since 1979. Here's a look at the updated ACC standings after Duke's win at Maryland today, 78-62. Carolina with a 2-game lead. Wake Forest right now tied for 3rd with Georgia Tech, and they've already knocked off the Yellow Jackets this season. This is a key game for the Deeks and a key game, too, for the Tar Heels because they want to keep it rolling going into that Duke game on Wednesday night.
I don't think there's any question about that. For Wake Forest, as you look at that, Wake Forest has already won 3 games on the road in the ACC. And Wake is going to finish the season basically at home. 3 of their last 4 are at home. So if they could steal a game right here against a very talented North Carolina team, and, you know, let's be frank about it. If they win this game, it's going to be a tremendous upset. But last year, they beat the #1 team in the country on this court as well. So this is a Wake Forest team that has the ability to get up for a big game. But I think that as the battle for the ACC shapes up, that this could be a huge game for Wake Forest.
John Moreau, Donnie Gray, and Steve Gordon are the officials today. Eric Montross and Derek Hicks. The jump center, the pride of Richmond, Virginia, Mr. Moreau, all set to toss it up, and here we go. And it's won by Harrison of the Deeks. Dan mentioned Wake's 4-2 record in the ACC, their best league start since 1985.
Man-to-man defense. Of course, what North Carolina tries to do in any defense is to get you out of your regular offense. That's a pretty good job of applying defensive pressure. Phelps, in particular, does a great job applying defensive pressure on the basketball.
In preparing for the Tar Heels, Dan, I would think it's very difficult in practice to simulate what the Tar Heels can throw at you defensively. Here's Trelawney Owens opening the scoring. Childress. Buck's got a lot of bodies in that paint. Trying to protect the middle as best they can.
That's what you have to do against North Carolina. You can't approach a game with the Tar Heels thinking about shutting off the perimeter. You have to shut off that inside game.
Rodel fouled by Childress.
It's a matchup zone defense that Wake Forest is employing, Bob. There's a lot of man-to-man principles in it, but what they're trying to do is shut off the inside. Rodel, who found himself wide open on Wednesday night, is probably going to find himself in that position today as well as throughout the season.
With the foul, the new 45 to work with. Reese moves in, wave it off. That's a travel on Brian Reese. High marks for the Deacs on the first time down the floor defensively.
They did a nice job, of course, right at the end of it. Reese penetrating into that zone. The penetration will kill the zone eventually. North Carolina with some full court pressure. Very interesting. Wake Forest going to have Rogers bring the ball up.
Touched last by George Lynch.
Wake Forest bench and fans asking for a foul against George Lynch. I wouldn't want to be dribbling the ball up the court against George Lynch. He's the career leader for North Carolina in steals.
The way Lynch and Phelps steal the ball, Dan, you need to play with rear view mirrors.
As we're talking about was Phelps putting a great deal of pressure on the basketball.
Childress.
Good help. Montross going to patrol in that middle.
Owens. May have been surprised he was so wide open. Underneath, missing was Lynch, but he comes back to tie it up.
That'll be North Carolina ball. Just a great play by George Lynch. He does everything for North Carolina. Tremendous all-around performer. I don't know what more you could ask from that guy than he's given for North Carolina, particularly this season. He's just been outstanding.
2 minutes into the game, Tar Heels still looking for their first points. Rodel for three. Saves it. And Wake Forest takes over.
Bob, that was a very positive possession for Wake Forest. They shut off the inside, forced Montross to kick it back out, and Rodel had all day to shoot the ball, but missed the shot.
And there's that man again, Mr. Lynch.
See right there, he's trying another facet of his game that he hasn't worked on very much, and that's the officiating part.
Never easy to inbound the ball against the Tar Heels.
They usually get one or two of those a game.
Owens again, and this one drops in.
Well, that's the kind of shot that we were talking about before the game. Wake Forest is going to get some of those. They have to convert them. Owens has converted 2 of 3 so far.
Off the fingertips of Owens. Lonnie, the junior from Bladenboro, North Carolina, averaging 10 points per game. And he's off to a quick start. He's hit 2 out of 3 and has scored all the Deacs points, 4-0 here. 17:30 left in the first half.
Good effort on the defensive end thus far by the Deacons, Bob. Really jamming it up inside. Haven't been any clear passing lanes.
Reese bangs it in.
Reese he is so dangerous with the basketball in his hands on that dribble. That's a good screen by Montross, too.
Rodel with the size advantage. Childress with the quickness advantage of the wing. It's out of bounds to North Carolina. That trap is incessant.
That's what Dave Odom talked about, how North Carolina has a big trap. And he said before the basketball game, even when the guards are trapping you, but that time Rodel and Montross executed the trap against Childress, who stepped out of bounds. I tell you, when Montross traps you, it doesn't matter who he's with. It's a big trap.
Travis Banks, number 34, is checked into the Deacon lineup.
Boy, Wake Forest is pretty small. Banks in the middle of that defense.
And this one tipped out of bounds. It belongs to North Carolina. Dave Odom and some of the Deacon fans in disbelief.
Of course, they're not exactly what you call your completely objective observers.
for 2 Deeks.
But Dave Odom won't remain that calm as the game goes on.
Montrose. Here is Reese crashing the offensive glass.
They've got so many weapons, Bob. You shut off Montross, you shut off Lynch, and Reese gets the bucket.
Childers penetrates. Left it shy. In the land of the Giants, Lynch comes out of there with it, running 4-on-2. Lynch lost it on the way up. Deeks had it. No, it was tipped out. Now they say it belongs to North Carolina. Steve Gordon says yes, it was deflected. Hicks coming right back for Wake Forest. Williams in for the Tar Heels, and Rodel goes up.
Now, of course, with Williams in the basketball game, you won't be able to leave him as open as you might be able to leave Rodel. So we'll see if the pressure on the interior is able to keep the pace.
Here's Mr. Williams. The long three from the corner. My goodness. He's got the 3rd best three-point percentage in the ACC, 46-9. And with that, Carolina takes its first lead. And a foul on Lynch. George picks up his first, and we've got a timeout on the Dealers.
Bob, when you're 7 feet tall and weigh 270 pounds, you don't necessarily have to score to make your presence felt. Right there, you can lock arms with the opposition center and hold him in place so that Brian Reese can score the basket. You know, that's a great move. If you're that size, you just get close to the guy and you hang on to him, and the officials behind you can't see that.
And it goes to Owens. He's trailing 7-4, 15-37 in the first half.
Wake Forest hasn't gotten a rebound in this basketball game, Bob. North Carolina with a 5-0 rebounding advantage.
And Travis Banks, the scooter from Clinton, North Carolina, a 55% shooter, pulls Wake within 1. The one thing that they have done that Dave Odom harped on yesterday, they have taken care of the basketball. Only 1 turnover here in the early going.
They're taking a page out of the Florida State book. Wake Forest now in a box and 1. Harrison guarding Williams one-on-one, but Phelps with the great penetration breaks down that defense.
Nice reversal. Trelawney Owens. He's got 6 here in the first half.
Good strong move inside. You're not going to take the ball up against Montross like that too many times. Charlie Harrison guarding Donald Williams one-on-one. Everybody else playing zone.
Montross had it broken up. 3 Deacons around him. And coming up with the ball was Banks. 3rd Carolina turnover.
Wake Forest has done a nice job on the defensive end of the court.
Owens.
What we haven't seen so far is North Carolina score in a transition situation.
Montross jammed up and drew the foul that time. It looked like the Deacons had Montross pinned to the baseline and under the basket, but he was able to break through, and Owens picks up the foul.
It was Owens and Banks against Montross. As the pass goes here, Montross now. No, it's Hicks there, but they don't get right next to one another. In that particular situation, Hicks and Owens have to make sure that they're touching one another. So if Montross splits that double team, he's committing a foul, but they did not get right next to one another. Montross was able to step through.
Pennsylvania junior Mark Lucas is in for the Deeks. Charlie Harrison to the Wake bench. And Eric Montross, 65.7 at the line this year. And that's his first point of the afternoon.
He is certainly a powerful, powerful presence inside. People are raving about his improvement from last year to this year. Just a much more confident young man.
His first 2, Lynch returns, and Eric will take a seat. And I'm sure part of that improvement came during the summer when he worked against the Dream Team in the Olympics with the developmental squad. 11-8 North Carolina.
The pace of the game, though, Bob, I think is really a Wake Forest pace right at the moment. Not doing a lot of running up and down. Wake's they've been able to make it a half-court kind of game. And as long as they can continue to hit shots like that, this is going to be a heck of a basketball game.
Lonnie Owens has had his opportunities, and he's made the most of them, scoring 8. He had 11 in the first half against Virginia. The Deacons win Wednesday in Charlottesville.
Great pass.
And a nice shot off the window for Phelps.
With the exception of Donald Williams, you watch the North Carolina perimeter guys, Bob. Their first move is sort of the ball fake and then dribble to the basket. Very few guys going to pull up and shoot the jump shot.
Rogers has been silent offensively. Tar Heels have marked him all afternoon. Here's Rodney and draws the foul. This time it's on Salvadori.
North Carolina, of course, has the size inside to front Rodney Rogers down low. That time, however, a great entry pass, and Rogers with a tremendous catch, able to get the ball up before 7-footer Kevin Salvadori can come over and give pressure.
Scooter Banks back in for Wake Forest.
Montross coming back for the Tar Heels. Travis Banks for Wake Forest.
Here's what we're talking about. Notice Reese puts the ball on the deck. Everybody comes to him, and when the pressure draws toward the guy with the ball, Reese with the tremendous pass over to Phelps. You can see the acknowledgement by Phelps to his teammate.
In Rogers' Wake Forest career, he has missed double figures only 3 times. Once was against North Carolina. He had 9 here and 91 against the Tar Heels. And you got to believe that the size that enables the Tar Heels to take Rogers out of the game. They can't front him at the low post. Make it that much tougher to get the ball to him.
Play a guy like George Lynch, who's just as tall as Rodney Rogers, in front of him, and then you've got a 7-footer playing behind.
North Carolina leading by 2.
Wake now in a man-to-man. Boy, this is a tough assignment for Hicks.
Williams.
Tougher assignment for Blucas. Nice job by Williams. You know, you run through that lane area, and there's some big bodies you can bounce your defender off. Lucas, the old pinball routine. Here's the trap.
And it's going to be picked up by Banks. Deacon's fortunate that time. Rogers, a rainbow. Out of bounds to North Carolina. 15-11, North Carolina. Tar Heels last year were down at the half all 3 times they played Wake Forest and rallied to win all 3 in the aforementioned comeback in Chapel Hill. One on a follow shot by Brian Reese. Here's Reese. And up there to secure it, Derek Hicks.
Hicks, of course, that's his first rebound.
That's a Wake's first rebound,
yeah.
too.
Okay. Well, you figure Hicks is going to get it.
There's the rebounding story. Lucas, 4-3. He's 7 for 14 now this year, Dan, and that could be an X factor if he could get hot.
Against the trap, you're going to get some open shots if you can beat the trap. The key is, can you put him in the basket? And Lucas did that time.
15-14, North Carolina. Lynch. Hicks another rebound. Leads the ACC in conference play and rebounding.
That's a good job by Wake Forest to not hurry that shot.
Childress missing the 3.
Just as I say that, they take one that's probably a hurried shot, and you don't want to do that against North Carolina.
Phelps all the way through.
Because when you do, you create a transition opportunity for North Carolina. Wake has done very well today when they've been able to set their defense, and so you have to limit North Carolina's transition opportunities and make them play against your set defense every time.
Lucas over to Hicks.
It's sort of an interesting defensive maneuver. Reese against Banks. There's Montross dropping in, helping Lynch out against Rogers. Not going to cover Hicks out of the corner.
But he nails it anyway. Again, Wake Forest trying to seize those opportunities. The Tar Heels are leading by 1. Just under 10 to go in the first half. In and out.
Great block out by Rogers and Hicks. They kept Montross well away from the boards. A forced shot by Donald Williams against some pretty good defense by Lucas.
Here's Rogers, weaving his way into the lane. High bank. Nope. And Williams breaks it out for Carolina. Ahead to Lynch. What a pass. Lynch lays it in.
Rodney Rogers really looks tired to me, Bob. He just didn't even come down the court on that particular play. He stood in the backcourt and watched the fast break. I think he thinks he was fouled driving to the basket. That was not a good shot. You got to watch the 5-second violation here.
And a Wake Forest turnover. Here's Phelps. Childress sticking to him.
Nice job.
And Rogers picks it off. Here he goes.
Doesn't look very tired there.
It's just too bad they don't give you style points. 19-18, Carolina.
It's amazing the way a breakaway dunk rejuvenates your energy-wise.
Williams around the rim and in. Quiets the crowd in Winston-Salem. Donald off the bench with 7.
We've got a convention at the scorer's table waiting to get in the ball game. This pace has really been a hard pace.
Tipped out by Lynch. Wake ball as the substitutions are made. And a timeout on the floor here in Winston-Salem. Take a look and enjoy the talents of Rodney Rogers. And we'll be back after a word from our good friends at Bud Dry.
If you want a beer that's less filling like a light with more great taste, why not make a change? For the better. Refreshingly different Bud Dry. Bud Dry is one beer that's less filling like a light with more great taste. So why not get it together? Try Bud Dry.
Ask anyone who's driven a Ford lately. Ask them why Taurus is the best-selling car in America. Why F-Series is the best-selling truck in America. In fact, ask them why 5 of the 10 best-selling cars and trucks in America are Fords. Ask and they'll tell you. Quality breeds success. Have you driven a Ford lately? It's more than just a question. It's an answer.
If your business gives up the quality of AT&T International Long Distance and calls Italy with someone else, here's your big saving.
3-point lead. And Bob, people talk about beating the trap, but it doesn't help if you beat the trap if you can't convert. That time Hicks and Childress get out of the trap and they get the ball to a wide open Lucas who converts. And that's the key. Just protecting the basketball doesn't really help you because eventually North Carolina is going to wear you down. You have to be able to break the trap, get an easy opportunity, and convert it. And Wake Forest, shooting 57%, has done a nice job.
The shooting excellent on both sides. Wake has turned it over only twice in this game. 21-18 Tar Heels. 8:07 left in the first half.
Might mention Scott Cherry in the basketball game for North Carolina. Dante Calabria not in uniform today as Lucas hits another 3. Calabria suffered a concussion yesterday in practice. So Cherry's going to get more minutes today than he normally would.
That 3 tied the game.
Montross out of the game. Wake Forest goes back to the zone defense that has been so effective for him. Hicks starts on the top in a 1-2-2 set and then drops down inside. Wake doing a nice job showing some different looks on the defensive end of the court.
Cherry kicks it out. Marodli recovers. Shot clock at 17. Salvadori turns and misses. Wake Forest looking to take the lead. Gets a little closer, but shut off. Lucas has held a hot hand. Rogers short.
Boy, he drifted down the court after that shot, Bob. Had he taken a step to the basket, the rebound would have come right back to him. Well, it's a walk. The Wake Forest student section, every one of them making the traveling sign.
Time out of the floor, he was concerned. 6:47 remaining in our first test. The Clemson Tigers take on the Wolfpack of North Carolina State, 2 p.m. on Sunday. The Deacs trying to beat Carolina for the first time in 12 games. They have drawn even so far, 21 all with 6:47 left. And Wake Forest with the ball. Pressure from the Tar Heels.
Bob, the scoring total in this game is relatively low, but the intensity has been very high, and you have to wonder, with the depth that North Carolina can throw at you, can Wake Forest hang in there for a full 40 minutes?
Harrison, air ball, but Hicks is there. Gets it to Rogers. He'll shoot 2. And I'm wondering, too, Dan, when you talk about the Deacs and holding up in the face of all that pressure, they're having to work so hard defensively, too.
Well, and I think that's a big key. Here we talked about Wake Forest having to convert their opportunities. Harrison with the air ball, but there's Hicks with the rebound and the excellent pass over to Rogers. Wenstrom gets the personal foul.
And 4th point for Rodney Rogers.
As Florida State knows, you get into a basketball game, you've got to maintain it for 40 minutes. North Carolina, they have the big bodies that can bang inside, and so the 40-minute game is perfectly all right with them. They're used to wearing people down.
Deacons leading for the first time since it was 4-2.
Now here's the man-to-man again. That's a great job to prevent Montross from turning. That's a tremendous, tremendous defensive effort.
And Rogers misses the shot. He had a chance to do it at both ends.
Montross catches the ball down in there. You've got to double him up, not only to prevent the shot, but to prevent him from turning and making the pass. He's an excellent passer in there.
Blocked by Childress out of bounds. Phelps and Lynch. Robles, Rodel, and Wenstrom.
Talked about the defense that Wake Forest has been playing there. Montross can't even pivot with the basketball. They force the tough shot. This is one that you'd really like to have. You work so hard for it, and you run down the court. If you make that layup, feel pretty good coming back up the court. But if you miss it, you're dragging a little bit. Man-to-man.
Nearly picked off by Childress, but Reese just glides to the basket.
Reese getting to the basket has really been a factor in the first half. That's something Wake Forest has not been able to stop. Need to get the ball in the hands of Rodney Rogers on the offensive end of the court.
They shovel, and Owens lays it in. Nice look. Turnover. Deacons pushing ahead. Numbers not in his favor, so Harrison backs it up.
Don't want to get in a track meet when you're involved with North Carolina. An excellent decision to pull the ball back out.
Good grief. Derek Hicks all the way, but it's going to be an offensive foul.
Basket's no good. Hicks just blows by Montross out at the top, but if you're going to drive from the top of the key all the way down the lane against North Carolina, you got to figure somebody's coming. That's great defensive position. That's the correct call. A very impressive looking move, but all he gets out of it is a foul and a turnover.
And Brian Reese gets a Purple Heart for taking the charge on 6'9", 220 Derek Hicks down the gut.
Down the gut, and that's where Hicks put his knee. Now what?
It's on Montross. You know, he's been trying to get position inside. He's really been using those elbows, Dan. He got caught that time.
Most regularly sized 6'6", 6'7" guys who play inside are right at elbow level for Montross anyhow. There he just keeps banging and banging. You cannot do that. The defensive guy is entitled to his position, and you just can't bounce him to get him out of that position and force yourself inside. Dean Smith, however, not very happy with that particular call.
Harrison misses, and Lynch has got the board, kicks it ahead to Phelps, now to Reese, and there's that man again. Brian Reese to the hole. He's got 8 in the first half.
Hicks really surprised Hicks with that pass across the court.
Tied at 25, our 4th tie of the afternoon. And an interception by Lynch. Reese battles. Childress reaches in, ties him up, and gets the ball for his team. Rodney Rogers is coming back into the ballgame now for the Deeks. George Lynch on the all-time steals list, number 1. And I tell you what, he'll never forget number 197. That was the one that won the game against Florida State the other night.
He missed the layup on that particular occasion.
Childress the trap, walks right into it. Harrison surveys, and now Carolina relaxes for a moment.
That's the situation that you'd like to have.
Out of bounds was Carolina's Derek Phelps, so the ball goes over to Wake Forest.
And what I meant by that, Bob, with Montross out of the game, Salvador is guarding out on the perimeter, and you can throw the ball inside to Rogers.
We have a timeout on the floor here at Winston-Salem, North Carolina. 3:39 left in the first half. It's 25 to Rodney Rogers and Randolph Childress. And Dan, these two guys we thought at the beginning would both, if they hit their averages, be in line for big games. But so far, Rogers has scored only 5, and Randolph Childress has not scratched.
Rodney Rogers only having 5 points doesn't surprise me with the kind of defensive attention he's getting down inside. But the fact that they're able to hold down that guy, Randolph Childress, really surprised me. I think that's a credit to the perimeter defense for North Carolina. But Lucas has 6, and Trelawney Owens has 10. And for Dave Odom, he's got to feel pretty good. The game is tied, and his 2 big guys really haven't gotten started yet.
And those two, Childress and Rogers, are a combined 1 of 7 from the field.
The amazing thing about that is Childress has only taken 2 shots in this game.
He's looking for number 3. Harrison outside, short with it, and out of bounds to North Carolina.
That's a shot that Charlie Harrison would like to hit, the wide open jumper.
He's had his problem shooting just 39% on the season coming into the game.
Here's that 3-2 zone again with Hicks playing out at the top. Makes it very difficult when he's out there to get a shot from the top of the key area. But now as the passing starts, he drops back down inside, going to try to cover up Lynch and Salvador. That's a walk.
So Henrik Rodel's travel gives the ball to Wake Forest. 2:55 to go in the half, and tied at 25.
That's twice now Rodel has committed that particular violation, trying to penetrate inside. Again, I think you've got to credit good Wake Forest defense.
8 North Carolina turnovers. There's Mr. Childress.
You knew that was coming. You can't give him a wide open 3.
He leads the ACC in 3-pointers made. Rodel tries to answer. Owns the rebound. Hicks. And a foul on Salvador.
Hicks has shown really good quickness to the basket and aggressiveness with the ball.
Well, he's a young man, Dan, who has really improved by leaps and bounds.
Now, the key here is with the penetration, Hicks isn't just standing around. He goes and gets himself in a position where he can receive a pass from Childress, and then he just explodes to the basket.
Salvadori will come out in favor of Matt Wenstrom. Rodel on the bench 2, and Williams is back in.
That's 2 fouls now for Salvadori, as well as 2 on Montross.
As Derek goes to the line, we remind you the announcers for this game selected and compensated by Raycom and Jefferson Pilot Sports, and the use of this broadcast without their express permission is prohibited.
Hicks missed that one, Bob, but these Wake Forest Demon Deacons, as we get a look at Montross on the bench, are sort of an oddity in college basketball this year. They're actually shooting more than 70% as a team from the free throw line.
And in ACC competition, Dan, 76%. The The trend continues to plummet, but the Deacs doing a much better job this year on the line than last. Lynch throws it away. The Deacs have the ball and a 4-point lead.
Well, now, George Lynch usually makes some pretty good decisions, but that wasn't a very good one. What in the world are you going to throw a lob pass to Derek Phelps against Rodney Rogers and Hicks and Owens?
Lucas covered it by Williams. Never a moment's rest when you get Phelps on you. Owens. Right back to him. Nice shovel to Hicks. Derek with 5 in the first half, and Wake Forest has its biggest lead.
Well, the only problem for Wake Forest, Bob, if they keep this up, they're going to be winning at halftime. And last year they were ahead at halftime 3 times, lost all the games to North Carolina.
Reese, short, tipped out into the hands of Derek Phelps. Derek with 8 here in the first half. Calmly pulls Carolina within 4.
Reese and Phelps both having big first halves for North Carolina. Phelps, the place where he's been most valuable is right here in this role, dogging Randolph Childress on the defensive end.
Rogers to the cutting Owens.
It's the patience we talked about, Bob. You catch the pass, you turn, you make the good play. Very impressive first half by Wake Forest.
That's the time remaining. The shot clock is off.
John Moreau has something to say to Trelawney Owens. Wouldn't he have been in trouble if they started the penetration to the basket as he's having that little exchange?
Reese and a foul on Rogers.
Oh boy, that's just a foul that you just simply can't make. It's only his first foul, but he doesn't have any to waste in a game like this. Oh my.
That is the excellent job in that department.
Bob, as we look at the stats here, there's a couple of things that jump right out and take all the way down to the bottom. Wake Forest able to convert 11 points off turnovers. North Carolina, the team that makes a living, only 2 points off turnovers. Of course, only 4 Wake Forest turnovers. I think that's been the key to the basketball game. You know, Wake Forest has gotten contributions from a lot of different people. They've shown good patience on the offensive end, but it's been Trelawney Owens. He had a big first half. That was one of his rebounds to Derek Hicks. Hicks has had a nice job. He's 2 for 2 shooting from the floor. Owens with 12 points in the first half. And another guy who's stepped up off the bench is Blucas. Mark Blucas with 2 3-point shots. Here's one of them. Knocks that home. For the University of North Carolina, this guy right here, Eric Montross, only 2 points in the first half, 1 rebound. But Brian Reese has done a great job slashing through the Wake Forest defense, converting. He's got 11 points in the first half. North Carolina is going to have to step it up, particularly with their inside guys, Montross and Lynch.
And the Tar Heels have so many weapons.
Jefferson Pilot Sports' exclusive coverage of ACC basketball is brought to you by Buick, Pizza Hut, Chick Tracer, Central Fidelity Bank, AT&T, and by the Jefferson Pilot Life Insurance Company.
Along with Dan Bonner, Bob Rathman back at the Joel Coliseum in Winston-Salem. Our leading scorers in the first half, the aforementioned Brian Reese with 11. That's 1 over his average. And Trelawney Owens with a dozen in the first half. That's 2 over his average.
Eric Montross hasn't had a field goal. No field goals in the first half. Only 2 shots, 2 free throws. George Lynch with only 5 points. The pace of the game, the tempo of the game really favors Wake Forest. North Carolina, Williams with 7 points. That's the only points that North Carolina has gotten from their bench. And normally the Tar Heel bench plays very effectively, but a lot of it has to do with the pace of the game. It's really a pace that Wake Forest is comfortable with. And here Williams starts the second half, and so Wake starts in that box and 1.
And they immediately get the turnover.
That's That's a tough pass. You got to make that pass perfectly, and that was not a perfect pass. It's now 9 turnovers. 10 turnovers for North Carolina.
Owens had the big first half, misses this one. But look at Rogers' fight to keep it alive.
Talked about opportunism and taking advantage of opportunities. Wake Forest creates another opportunity. Let's see what they can do with it.
Rogers controls, scores. Time.
He's down.
Rogers is injured. Rodney up and heading down court, and he'll come out in favor of Travis Banks.
This is a great job by Hicks. He pulls Montross away from the basket, so Montross is not there for the defensive help. He just, when Rogers came down, he just came down on top of Reese's foot, just turned his ankle. Hopefully he'll be okay.
Deacons by 5.
Again, in the box and 1 defense, Harrison shadowing Williams.
Lynch short from 15, tipped out and saved by Childress. Randolph's in trouble. Underneath, count it, and a foul. Boy, it looked like the Deacs were about ready to cough it up, and they get 2 and a throw coming at it.
Beating the trap, Bob, as we've said before, isn't the only answer. You've got to beat it and convert. Now, there's no trap here. He just picks up his dribble, and Phelps does a tremendous job putting pressure on the basketball. But watch right there. He cuts to the basket. Childress could have very easily just thrown the ball and then stood and watched, but because he cuts to the basket, he gets it back. That's a tremendous move by Childress.
This is the free throw, but Owens puts it in. Trelawney with 14, and the Deacons have their biggest lead of 9 points. Williams, the runner, is good. 39-32.
That's what you call running into a screen.
Rogers had it blocked. One thing we talked about early, Dan, as you take a look at this screen,
Williams has no idea that it's there, and I'll tell you, run into that man, you're going to stand straight up in a hurry.
We talked about the Wake Forest confidence factor at the beginning of the game. They've won 4 straight in the league coming into this one. They played with a lot of confidence today.
They certainly haven't played like a team that was intimidated at all. There's a turnover.
Only 5, though, for the Deacs. And they get it right back.
The key there, though, Bob, is they turned the ball over, but they were able to get back and set their defense. So even though North Carolina got a turnover, they had to play against the set defense, and you can see the result.
Steal. Is it? Nope. Wake's going to maintain possession.
Rogers saved a basket there with a very heady play.
Childress. And inside to Hicks. And had that one stripped. Childress gets it back. Boy, they are scrapping all over the place, these two teams.
He looks like he hurt his knee.
Yep. Uh-oh. Randolph Childress, of course, missing last year with the knee problems. And
now that might be simply a cramp. I don't know.
Let's hope.
So he had that horrible knee injury, and he doesn't even play with a knee brace now.
Still limping, but will stay in the game.
Since he's able to...
Hello.
He was faking it. That's the way to come back from that.
No fake in the Deacons lead. They're up by 10. Lynch. Great D by Hicks, and the Deacs are coming the other way. Look out from behind. Montross falls on top of Childress. A held ball. Possession, Wake Forest.
Boy, the Wake Forest bench is up in arms. No, not that guy. You look at the assistant coaches. They just can't believe that Montross didn't get a foul call on. He jumped right on top of Childress. But the only thing worse than a 275-pound guy hitting you with an elbow is a 270-pound guy who flops on you at midcourt.
Lynch goes out in favor of Salvadori. Owens is out for Wake Forest, and Banks is back in. Here's a look at Trelawney, a big day with 14 points. Deacons lead by 10.
North Carolina's only scored 2 points in the second half.
They were not hitting on all cylinders to start the game, thanks to the Wake D. Childress for 3.
Childress is running down the court saying, I'm coming, I'm coming. You're just not going to hold him down the entire basketball game.
45-32.
Dean Smith asking for the foul inside against Hicks, covering Montross. Gets it.
Second on Hicks.
Just really trying to push him out of there, banging on him. That's what Dean Smith was complaining about. But Wake Forest has done a super job. Montross has not been a factor in this basketball game.
Wake Forest has committed only 5 fouls in this game. Owens and Rogers come ahead for the Deeks. Childress alone. (48-32) Wake Forest. Montross. Rejected by Rogers, but that'll count. And a timeout on the floor. Give Montross his first field goal, but the ball still hadn't gone in. We've got a timeout. 48-34. Deeks will be right back.
Jimmy and Chris for Nuprin.
Jimmy, relax. Have some fun.
Who says I'm not having fun?
You can't go on forever.
Want to bet?
Admit it. Sometimes it hurts.
Ooh. So I Nup it. Nup it. And it's gone.
I Nup it too.
Nuprin works for me.
It's strong medicine.
Some people know how to stay in shape.
Why, thank you, Jimmy.
Nup it. With Nuprin, the body pain medicine. Now from the makers of Nuprin, Nup it with new backache for lower back pain.
To a 14-point lead. North Carolina trying to force the ball inside. And why are people talking about this guy as the player of the year? Well, he brings the ball up the court, draws the defense, pitches it to Childress. Now, as Childress starts up the court, even Dave Odom right behind him permits himself 2 claps before he stops. Even he's excited. Eric Montross, you can see what he's done this season. Almost 16 points a game, but today only 1 field goal, 4 points. He hasn't been a factor in the basketball game.
And just 1 rebound for 0-0. You know, Dan, we were thinking earlier, and to draw the football analogy, when you've got to drive, start every drive from your own 20 and go 80 yards to score, a little tougher to put points on the board. Tar Heels not getting anything in the transition game off their defense.
And I think that's been one of the big keys to the game. Wake hasn't given it up in those tough positions.
Hello. He has hit 4 3-pointers in the second half. He scored 17 for the game, and the Deeks are up 51-34.
I guess that knee isn't bothering him very much.
Got a lot better quick.
Now keep in mind that there's still more than 15 minutes left in this basketball game.
They take away the lob as Rogers got a hand on it, and a foul on Montross. His third.
The last 2 times they've tried to lob it inside, Bob, they've been very poorly thrown passes. You'd like to throw the ball, so they got to get up and get it. They're trying to throw it to Reese, but Rogers is simply right there. He gets up in the air and knocks it down almost at chest level.
Childress. Here's Rogers getting around Montross. Blocked by Salvadori. But Childress comes back with another 3. My goodness. A 20-point Wake Forest lead. Montross. Salvadori softly in.
Montross,
first bucket.
Montross, that was not a good shot. He got the pivot, but was falling away with 3 guys all over him. Of course, that left Salvadori open.
Phelps trying to strip Harrison. Owens.
Man-to-man for North Carolina.
Here's Owens. Nice move. Score. 16 for Trelawney.
Dean Smith's defense is just being shredded by Wake Forest.
Montross nearly threw it away. Phelps made the nice save. They're chasing Williams all over the floor as Montross works inside. Salvadori too strong. And there's Childress with a rebound.
That boxing one is what Wake Forest has been playing. They're able to get a lot of pressure inside on Montross.
The ball will belong to the Deacs. 13:29 left. Wholesale substitutions as Lynch, Rodel, and Sullivan come in for the Heels. Lucas is back in the ball game for Wake Forest. Look at the turnover story, but as we've said so often, Dan, I know that you pointed these things out. It's not so much the turnovers, it's what you do with them.
And right there you can see Wake Forest with a 20-point advantage in that department, and that's the margin in the basketball game. There's no secret about what's going on here. This guy's part of it.
23 for Childress. He scored 20 in the second half. He has hit 7 3-pointers. Phelps. Childress is fouled by Lynch. Boy, the wheels are coming off the cart here for the Tar Heels, it seems. The 7 3-pointers by Childress is tied a Joel Coliseum record set by John Berry of Georgia Tech last year.
Get a look at the North Carolina bench. They know for a fact that they can come back from this type of a deficit, but I'll tell you what, Bob, you don't want to be making a habit of this kind of thing. It was a superb defensive effort in the first half by Wake Forest. This second half, they have been on fire offensively, and this guy with the ball has led the way. Just nothing going the Tar Heels' way.
And North Carolina, Dan, has scored 6 points in the 7 minutes of the second half. Second foul on Derek Phelps.
Dean Smith shaking his head over there. This kind of thing would be enough to make you shake your head. That's amazing. Less than a point a minute for the offensive powerhouse of North Carolina.
And Lynch off the turnover, hits the jam.
And the reason, Bob, is they simply haven't gotten any plays like that. That's only the second time they've converted a basket off a turnover.
Tipped out by Sullivan. Wake will maintain possession. The shooting numbers so far, North Carolina struggling in the second half a bit. They haven't had that many shots, to be honest with you, 44%. But look at Wake Forest behind Childress, 77%. Timeout, Deacs, rather than commit the time violation. Dave Odom gathers his troops. The Deacs lead by 21. And we'll be back after a word.
On the inbounds pass, and North Carolina doesn't do it. And Childress just knocks it in. What a basketball game he's having. Not the Ram there. He's having a tough time. Childress.
7 3-pointers for Randolph today, and he scored 23. The Deacon record for most threes is 8, and that was set by Cal Boyd at North Carolina in February of '89.
Wake Forest 10 for 13 shooting in this half. North Carolina's only gotten 9 shots in the half. They've turned it over 5 times.
And Williams. Oh, this is a foul on Wake Forest. Dave Odom did a double gainer when he found out it was against Owens, his second.
Dave Odom has actually been very calm over there today. He could do an antiperspirant commercial. Sullivan.
His first bucket of the game, and that cuts the Deacon advantage to 18 with 12:20 left. I know what you're thinking.
Well, what Wake Forest is thinking is they've got to keep playing in this basketball game. They were in such a rhythm. You can't expect to continue to shoot over 70% from the field, but you don't want to get overly conservative. You want to continue to run your offense, get the ball inside to Rogers, get those good opportunities for Owens, and certainly see if you can free Childress up from behind the line.
Hicks. Owens. Inside, we've got a foul called on Montross, his fourth. He pushed off to try to get some rebounding position.
Bob, that was great patience by Wake Forest, moving the basketball around. When you move the ball, you move the defense, and therefore they're not in great rebounding position. And with that ball movement, Hicks got a chance to slide in there. Here's Hicks. He's got the shot, but he passes it up. Rogers with great position. Montross picks up the foul, trying to come around Rodney Rogers, but it was the ball movement that let Hicks and Rogers get loose inside.
Rogers fouled on his way up.
And who's the foul on?
I think Lynch.
No, it's on Montross.
His fifth. He's out of there.
Are you kidding me?
2 fouls. 7 seconds apart, and Eric is banished to the bench for the rest of the afternoon. 1 for 5 from the floor today from Montross. 4 points, 2 rebounds.
Bob, Montross in the 18 North Carolina games scored in double figures in 17 of those games. And the only game he didn't score in double figures was against Cornell, when he didn't play very much.
Rodney Rogers. 3-4 at the line today. Rogers misses the second, and Lynch has got the rebound. This is just the second time that Montross has fouled out of a Carolina game this year. And a foul on Childress. He begs to differ.
Well, you want to be careful in a situation like this. The North Carolina squad is obviously a little frustrated, so they're barking some at the referees, and you get to a point as the officials anyhow, somebody's going to bark at you one time too many, and if you're Wake Forest, you don't want a technical foul.
Tipped away by Childress. What good recovery that time for Randolph as Williams cut to the bucket. He's 11:31 left.
Great effort by Wake Forest.
Foul inside, and it's on Owens of Wake Forest.
Now, the interesting thing, Bob, with Montross out of the basketball game, as Owens picks up his 3rd foul, Wake Forest can play a little bit more conventional defense. You know, Salvadori's a 7-footer, but he doesn't have near the power that Montross has, and so Wake Forest can actually match up a little better and play some man-to-man if they wish. And that's what they're doing right now.
Well, we will have to dust off the record books to find the last time that North Carolina trailed by 20-plus in back-to-back games in the second half. They are 19 in arrears at the present time.
And there's Rodel barking at the official.
And it's a foul on Rodel. Well, you can see that one coming. Frustrated.
Well, when you're going to yell at the referee, get it right in his face, yell at him, then come up the court and right in front of him smack somebody, he's not likely to let you off the hook. That's just not a very smart play. That's the 7th team foul against North Carolina, so Wake is going to be shooting these babies from now on in. And as we mentioned, Wake Forest, the best free throw shooting team in the ACC.
Brian Reese returns, and Rodel will go out of the game. Wake Forest last beat North Carolina in '88. That was at the Greensboro Coliseum, 83-80. And they've won only 1 game against the Tar Heels since 1982. They have taken this game by the throat here in the second half. Hicks at the line. 5 points, 4 boards, and 1 for 2 at the line.
But he did those 5 points and 4 rebounds, I don't think begin to tell about what his contribution in this game has been. He's done a great job battling inside. Now Now North Carolina with a really funny lineup in the basketball game, Bob. It's strange to look out there and see no 7-footers in the lineup for North Carolina.
And it drops. 7 for Hicks. The Deeks have a 21-point lead. Lynch to 3. Just his second one of the season. The other came in that comeback Wednesday against Florida State.
He's not the guy you would expect to be hitting the three-point shot with this particular lineup in the game for North Carolina. A little quicker, but I think it makes Rogers very dangerous inside for Wake Forest. Lynch is an excellent defensive player, but I don't know that even he can cover Rogers one-on-one inside.
Eric Phelps brings it up. Sullivan missed the 3. Lucas goes down, and we've got a foul on the Tar Heels. And it's on Phelps. That will be the 3rd on the Carolina point guard.
Trelawney Owens did a great job blocking George Lynch away from the board. Lucas able to get to the basketball.
Hey, reminder, friends, stay tuned for the Players of the Game Award brought to you by Nations Bank. As Dan mentioned, Wake will go to the line now on each foul, and up 62-44 with 10:14 left. It's going to be the junior from Girard, Pennsylvania, Mark Lucas, to shoot. 2 big three-pointers in the first half as Rodel prepares to return. Sullivan rebounds. Reese, 4-3. His second three-pointer of the game. Bryant has scored 14. Tar Heels trailing by 15.
North Carolina team in the basketball game now, Bob, is in there to apply tremendous pressure defensively, particularly on the full court level.
Rogers beat Lynch underneath, got the pass and put it in.
And that's where this North Carolina team with this lineup is the weakest. They're trying to exert pressure defensively. If they're not going to create a turnover in the full court situation, when Wake gets it into the half court situation, Rogers is going to be loose inside. Lynch fouls him on that occasion. This is another example of Wake Forest protecting the basketball and then take advantage of the opportunity that's presented. There's Montross. He's fouled out, so he's taking the tape off.
10 points for Rogers. 52nd straight game in double figures for the Durham Bull. 65-47. Deeks take it right back to 18, negating the Reese three-pointer.
Went the wrong way. Nobody's guarding Williams.
Reese missing. Phelps took a beating, comes down with the ball, held ball, and it goes on the alternate possession to the Tar Heels.
Wow, that was a very interesting play. As Phelps penetrated in, one of the things about a point guard, it's not a matter of penetrating in and passing the ball to any open man. You'd like your point guard to be able to pass it to the best guy. And that time, Donald Williams, as Phelps penetrated in, Williams was to his left, was all alone behind the three-point line, but Phelps went to the right and to Reese.
Phelps to the bench. Sullivan is in. Derek Early got popped on the head that time. He's going to get a breather, and Reese plays it over to Rodel. Lynch, another 3. Airballs it. Deeks have it.
Dean Smith claiming that the ball was tipped. Lynch is not the guy who I think you want shooting the three-point shot with that lineup in the game.
The Deeks, thanks to Randolph Childress, 6 for 6 in the second half from three-point range.
Childress, he was too close that time. Didn't need to rush that shot quite as much.
Williams. Into the hands of Derek Hicks. Tied up, the Deeks will have it.
You know, if we had the old jump ball rule, there's been an awful lot of tie-ups in this game. We'd have to be having jump balls all over the place. It's been interesting to me, Bob, how different Wake Forest players have stepped up at different stages of this game. Early in the game, it was Owens.
Second half,
can have Childress, and now last couple times it's been Rogers. That funny lineup in the ball game for North Carolina, and Rogers has stepped up.
Salvadori is checked back in for North Carolina. Lynch is out. Rogers just spins it off his fingertips in.
Haven't heard from Childress in a while, but Wake Forest running time off the clock and getting it inside to that guy.
Deeks by 20.
And if North Carolina is going to come back in the game, they better get started.
Sullivan.
Obviously, the Tar Heels cannot afford to trade baskets with the Deacons at this point in the game. North Carolina has to start creating some turnovers and converting some of those three-point shot opportunities.
Underneath, Hicks drops it. Tipped out by Sullivan. And a timeout on the floor here in Winston-Salem. The scoreboard reads Wake Forest 60. Dan, this one's got everything plus the inch.
Absolutely. Somebody delivers the pizza like this.
Good grief. 360 for Rodney Rogers. And that came in the first half of the game. This was a three-point game at halftime, 33-30, but the Deeks just shut down North Carolina defensively.
And now Wake Forest takes another timeout because they can't get the basketball inbounds, and Dave Odom is not very happy about that.
And we're going to take a break, too, with 7:42 left, 45 to play. He picked up 2 fouls in 7 seconds. Wake Forest, the big story here in the second half, to start the second half anyway, was Randolph Childress. 7 3-pointers, 6 of them here in the second half, when Wake went from a 3-point lead at the break to the lead they enjoy now at 18. Rodel with the person.
North Carolina, as you saw in our game summary, not getting any production from their center position at all. Now, when we said that 6 points from 7-footers, we didn't mean 7-foot shots, we meant 7-foot people.
Banks is out. Rogers is back. And the Deacons have some more free throws coming. Derek Hicks is the man at the line. Well, we talked about the improved play of Derek Hicks, senior from Menlo High and Raleigh, went to Anderson Junior College. He was just about a foul a minute guy last year, but then later in February he started to get his game together. And talking to Dave Odom yesterday, this young man, Dan, has really come on, started to be a part of that Deacon offense where he can look to score and do some things, and his contribution today goes beyond the stat sheet.
Bob, you just get the idea that this Wake Forest team, as he misses that one, this Wake Forest team had a lot of new guys to involve in the offense. You know, they lost a big group of seniors.
Reese misses the 3.
And it may be that this Wake Forest team, Hicks being one of the guys, finally learning their roles and feeling comfortable with their roles. This is the first time I've had an opportunity to see the Deacons in person, and I'm impressed.
Diggs got away with a cross-court pass, but Rogers slammed it home. 21-point lead. That equals their biggest lead of the day. Reese spins and misses.
Bob, for North Carolina, of course, it's very difficult every time they go anywhere to play. But the other team is really ready to go and fired up, and the fans are ready, and you just have to wonder if maybe North Carolina drained everything they had the other night. Good ball movement.
Up and in. Goodness. Randolph Childress with 25. And that is going to be a blocking foul.
And the North Carolina bench is very, very quiet. The only animation over there is Dean Smith, and that's only because he's up and walking around. Everybody just sitting there, sort of a blank look on their faces. The Wake Forest Demon Deacons have just taken it to North Carolina today. You would not have convinced me that they could have thrashed North Carolina like this, but this is just a good old-fashioned whipping here.
Cherry dishes. Finally inside, it's Lynch. No, couldn't get it. Harrison puts it ahead to Rogers. Childress. He's human. He's back. Misses it. Here's Sullivan. Rodel. Jerry fakes. Inside it goes to Reese. And he puts it in.
What you've got here, Bob, is North Carolina is so far behind that they're not going to beat you with 2-point baskets. So Wake Forest can really afford to be aggressive.